Dude, okay, you are not going to believe this thing I overheard the other day. Seriously, my brain just went screech. Someone actually said out loud, I don't know what wilted wallflower should wear to her wedding. Like, wedding.
Right. And what's wild is that behind that seemingly random comment is this super intense story that totally blew up on Reddit way back in 2016.
Oh, way.
Yeah, we're diving into this thread by a user, Wilted Wallflower. We call her Willow, just for ease.
Willow. Okay, got it.
So Willow was like 16, living up in Canada, and she accidentally hears her mom on the phone talking about arranging her marriage to a relative in Pakistan.
Yikes. Hold on. A forced marriage? Seriously, that's, wow, your whole world can just flip like instantly.
Totally. And this wasn't, some made up drama. This was real life for her.
Yeah.
And what happened after she overheard that is, well, pretty bonkers. It turns out some quick thinking, and honestly, the internet played a huge part.
The internet saves the day again. Okay, I'm hooked.
Kind of, yeah. So look, our mission here today is basically to unpack this whole thing. We're going to look at Willow's reaction, how she handled it, the surprising support she got, and also some of the really different ways people online reacted to her story.
Okay, so what are we working with source-wise?
We've got her original Reddit post, then she posted a couple of updates, follow-ups, and of course a whole bunch of comments from other Redditors, which give us some different perspectives, some questions people had.
Right, the peanut gallery. Always has opinions. So, okay, Willow's just, studying, avoiding homework, and she hears this phone call. What was the, immediate feeling? Panic.
Oh, total panic.
Yeah.
Pure shock and fear. Absolutely. I mean, imagine hearing that, the idea of being forced into a marriage and then stuck in Pakistan.
Yeah, terrifying.
Especially since she said she hadn't even been there since she was like 6 years old. Plus, she identified as ex-Muslim and really didn't get along with her mom's family over there. So double dose of dread.
You can just feel that cold dread setting in. But okay, she didn't just curl up in a ball. She started doing stuff.
Exactly. Which for a 16-year-old under that kind of insane pressure is pretty impressive. Her mind immediately jumped to action. She started looking up Canadian and French consulates, embassies in Pakistan.
Whoa, already planning an escape route.
Yeah, because she remembered she had dual citizenship. French and Canadian. So she was already thinking, okay, if I end up there, how do I get out?
That's some serious foresight. And didn't she mention some pretty messed up things her mom had said before, like setting the stage for this?
Oh, definitely. She mentioned her mom saying things like, your cousin got grades like yours, and that's why she was married off.
Oh, charming.
Right. And also stuff like, oh, I'll find you a doctor husband because girls don't work. Just these really traditional controlling ideas about her future. It gives you a sense of why this overheard conversation wasn't just a shock, but felt like a genuine threat.
Yeah, that context makes her fear feel really, really real. So her first instinct wasn't confront her mom right then and there.
Nope. Her initial thought, her first plan was actually to run away to Paris.
Paris? Why Paris?
That's where her biological dad lived. A white French guy, she specified. She apparently hadn't even told him yet, though, because she was worried her stepsister might overhear and tell her mom. Shows a level of trust, right?
Zero trust in the house. Makes sense. But she did eventually reach out for help, right? She didn't try to do this totally alone.
Yeah, thankfully. And this is where you see her resourcefulness really kick in. She contacted her biological dad.
And he was cool.
He was apparently super supportive. Immediately. Huge relief, you can imagine. Then she told her boyfriend, her close friends. She even told her school principal.
The principal. Wow, that takes guts. What about her friends? Were they helpful?
Incredibly so. Her best friend actually gave her a pocket GPS tracker.
Get out! Like a spy gadget.
Pretty much. And the friend promised, look, if you end up in Pakistan, I'm calling the authorities. I'll know where you are.
That is a ride or die friend right there. Seriously.
Totally. And her boyfriend's parents, too. They offered money and even said, if she somehow got taken to Pakistan, they'd try to physically help get her out, find people there.
Okay, that's above and beyond. That's some serious backup.
It really is. And Willow wasn't just relying on others. She was taking practical steps herself. She started taking cash out of her bank account.
Smart. Small amounts.
Yeah, medium amounts, she said. Nothing too big to raise red flags. And she hid it, along with her French passport and her other IDs, birth certificate, stuff like that. Got it all stashed away safely.
Covering her bases. And she started shipping stuff out, too.
Yep. Started boxing up her belongings and mailing them to her dad's address in France. So, the signs were pretty clear. She was building an escape plan, piece by piece.
Okay, so she's got this whole secret operation going. The planning, the hidden cash, the network of allies. The eventual confrontation with her mom and stepdad must have been explosive, right? Fireworks.
You'd totally expect that.
Okay.
Yeah. But the actual sit down, at least how she described it, was well, kind of anticlimactic.
Mm.
Initially, anyway.
Really? How so?
She went in there fully intending to say, I know what you're planning, and I want to go live with my dad in France. But when they actually sat down to talk, she said she just froze, panicked.
Oh, man, I can picture that. Brain just goes blank.
Totally. She said she almost changed the subject entirely, like started talking about wanting to paint her bedroom walls purple or something random.
Uh-huh. Okay. The stress response is weird sometimes. Purple walls instead of you're trying to marry me off. But she got back on track.
She did. She managed to pull it together and just told them straight up, I want to move to France. I want to live with my dad.
Okay. Deep breath moment. And their reaction, was it denial? Anger?
Their first reaction was apparently to say France was unsafe.
Wait, France was unsafe?
Yeah.
Compared to potentially being forced into marriage in Pakistan. The irony is just, wow.
Right. Pretty rich, considering. So obviously, Willow didn't buy that excuse. She stood her ground. Things got heated. There was yelling.
Okay, here we go.
And eventually, she kind of threw it back at them. She said something like, if you really don't want me, if I'm such a burden, just give up your parental rights. Let my dad have custody.
Bold move, calling their bluff.
Exactly. And that's when it got weird. Her stepdad apparently just stormed off thinking she was being ridiculous or dramatic. But her mom, after calling her a disgrace, basically, just calmly said, okay.
Okay, just okay.
Yep. Okay, fine. We'll make the arrangements for you to go live with your father, just like that.
No fight. No, how could you say that? No guilt trip, nothing.
Apparently not. And that reaction really threw Willow. She wrote about feeling almost disappointed and confused. Like, why wasn't her mom fighting for her? Why was she so willing to just let her go?
Yeah, that's got to sting. Like being disposable.
Exactly. She said it felt like her mom was just willing to throw her away. She expected yelling, tears, something. But instead, it was just this cold agreement.
Man, that's rough in a whole different way. But I guess it did open the door for her escape, right? What happened right after that conversation?
She didn't hang around. As soon as that confrontation was over, she grabbed her important documents, her hidden cash, a few essential belongings, and she was out the door.
Where did she go?
Straight to a friend's house.
Yeah.
And this friend's mom, total MVP. She immediately bought Willow and her friend plane tickets.
Wow. Just like that. Where to? Directly to Paris.
Not quite. This is where it gets a little bit, interesting logistically.
Huh.
The tickets were to Vancouver.
Vancouver, but wasn't she in Eastern Canada? That's like flying west to go east. That seems weirdly indirect.
It does seem like a strange route, yeah. Flying across the entire country just for a layover to Paris. And it's definitely one of the details that made some people online raise their eyebrows later when reading the story.
Okay, we'll park that thought. So Vancouver was the layover. How did she travel, being underage?
Her friend who went with her was 18, so she acted as Willow's guardian for the flight. And to cover their tracks, Willow called her mom and told her they were heading to Halifax.
Halifax. Completely the opposite direction. Clever. Misdirection 101.
Totally. Threw her mom off the scent. So they made it to Vancouver, got through security, and then just had to wait for that connecting flight to Paris.
Man, sitting in that airport must have been intense. Like freedom is right there.
Oh, absolutely. She wrote about just feeling this huge wave of anticipation, thinking about freedom, a new life, getting away from all that fear and control. It must have been unreal.
And the reunion in Paris with her dad must have been huge.
Yeah, sounds like it was really emotional. He met her right at the airport. Charles de Gaulle, her friend, the one who traveled with her, stayed for a little while, for moral support.
Nice friend.
Yeah, before heading off on her own trip to Greece. And then Willow started the process of actually settling in, adjusting to living in France permanently with her dad.
How did her dad handle the whole backstory, learning what his daughter had just gone through?
He was reportedly livid, absolutely furious with her mother for planning this arranged marriage behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently told Willow, "You're a person, not an object," and had some, let's just say, very strong words for her mother over the phone.
Good for him stepping up like that.
Yeah, he made it clear he was there for her, and crucially, he took legal steps pretty quickly.
To make it official.
Exactly. Her mother's parental rights ended up being terminated.
Oh, okay.
And her dad got awarded sole custody. So legally, she was safe and sound with him in France.
That must have been an enormous relief for Willow.
Oh, massive. Like a physical weight lifted. She actually mentioned feeling better physically. Her acne cleared up. She lost some weight, likely just from the stress disappearing.
Makes sense. Stress does crazy things to your body.
For sure. And she started looking towards the future, Even mentioned maybe writing a book about her experience someday. And she expressed a lot of gratitude for the support she'd received online on Reddit.
Okay, so it sounds like, considering the terrifying alternative, this ended as well as it possibly could have. She got away, she's safe, she's with the supportive parent, but, the internet had to be some questions, right? Some skepticism in those comments.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Well, tons and tons of people were incredibly supportive and believed her wholeheartedly. There were definitely threads of skepticism and some pretty pointed questions raised in the comment sections of her posts.
Like what? What were people hung up on?
Well, for one, the timeline. Some commenters found it hard to believe that everything, the packing, withdrawing money discreetly, contacting her dad, her friends, the principal, getting the GPS, shipping boxes, could realistically happen in the very short time frame described, maybe even just one day between confrontation and escape.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. That is a lot to coordinate under pressure in potentially just hours. It sounds like a movie montage.
Exactly. Possible? Maybe. But it did stretch belief for some. Then there was her mother's reaction during the confrontation.
The quick agreement to let her go.
Yeah, that calm. Okay, fine. Some people questioned how readily a mother, even an allegedly controlling one, would just give up like that. And also, the legal side, how easy is it really to just terminate parental rights internationally like that? It usually involves courts, lawyers, time.
Right, it doesn't usually sound like a quick phone call fixes everything.
And the support network, while amazing, also seemed almost too perfect to some skeptics. The boyfriend's parents willing to fund an extraction. The best friend conveniently having a pocket GPS tracker just ready to go.
The GPS tracker. Yeah, I remember thinking that was kind of specific for 2016. Not like everyone had tile trackers back then.
Precisely. It felt a bit, cinematically convenient to some readers. And of course, that travel itinerary.
The Vancouver Shuffle. Still scratching my head over that one. Flying west from Eastern Canada to get to Paris. It just seems illogical and expensive. Why not fly east?
That was a big sticking point for many. It didn't make logistical sense unless there was some other factor not mentioned. And then there was the language Willow used sometimes.
Oh, what kind of language?
Some commenters pointed out her repeated use of phrases like calling Pakistan an Islamic shithole country, and also the way she repeatedly emphasized that her father was white and non-Muslim.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that kind of language definitely raises a flag. It makes you wonder about potential biases influencing the narrative, maybe.
Exactly. It led some people to question the framing of the story and whether there might be some anti-Muslim sentiment coloring her account, consciously or unconsciously. It added another layer of complexity for readers trying to understand the situation objectively.
Plus the detail about her mom, living in France but not speaking French.
Yeah, that was another odd detail mentioned in the comments. Apparently, Willow said her mom lived in France for 13 years but didn't understand French, which struck some people as highly unusual, if not improbable, for someone living somewhere that long.
So, okay. It's this really compelling, dramatic story of escape, but it's got these little details, these inconsistencies or convenient plot points that make you go, wait a second.
That's a perfect way to put it. The core narrative is powerful. Young woman perceives this imminent threat, takes decisive action, rallies support, and makes a successful break for freedom and a new life. You can't deny the core element she presented.
Right. That part seems clear.
But the comments, the skepticism, they serve as a really important reminder, don't they? When we're consuming stories online, especially dramatic personal narratives, it's worth keeping a critical eye out, thinking about plausibility, potential biases, missing information.
It definitely makes you think, how much of the immediate danger was real versus perceived? How reliable can any one person's account be, especially when it's posted online in the heat of the moment?
And what does it say about online communities? On the one hand, you see this incredible potential for support for strangers rallying around someone in crisis. But on the other, you see how quickly narratives can form and maybe how biases can get amplified or overlooked.
Yeah, it leaves you with a lot to chew on. This whole deep dive really highlights the complexities, doesn't it? Family, culture, freedom, control.
Absolutely. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is just that. How our own perspectives shape how we interpret a story like Willow's. Seeing the diverse reactions online, the full support, the skepticism, the concerns about language, it really forces you to consider how different backgrounds and experiences lead people to see the same set of events in vastly different ways. There's always one simple truth,
Yeah.